have a little bit of a heart-to-heart about MGK. I don't think he needs any sort of introduction. He has been one of the most universally poked at people in the entire music industry for years on end now. He made a lot of dumb decisions in the past, not the least of which that kind of put him on the map even more so was when he went after Eminem and there was the whole beef with like Rap Devil and Killshot and all that sort of shit. It was the biggest talking point on the internet, which regardless of what I say in this video, yes, MGK lost that royally. But some of the reasons I see people talk bad about MGK in the modern sphere, even coming from the perspective of someone that doesn't really like his music that much, I think it's just kind of silly. And so I did a little bit of deep diving. I've been catching up with some of his material, and I want to just provide my own perspective on it. The two biggest recent things that I've sort of been turning my attention to is, number one, the Juice WRLD / Boulevard of Broken Dreams mashup cover he did, as well as the song he made in respect of his lost friend called Your Name Forever. And of course, I was privy to the last two records he made, which were completely pop-punk centered. He had dabbled in it 3 albums back when he was dabbling in sort of rock-isms and pop-punk-isms and alternative rock-isms and sort of incorporating that into his hip-hop style. But it wasn't until 2 albums ago that he made the complete transition into pop-punk and alt-rock a la Sum 41 and Blink-182, like the 90s and early 2000s pop-punk scenes. And yeah, it became very popular to rag on him, it became very popular to hate on him. There were all the memes about he got beat by Eminem so bad he swapped genres entirely, and so people weren't really listening to the music or giving it any sort of attention. That didn't stop it from doing incredibly well. If I remember correctly, both of those albums debuted at #1 on the Billboard Top 200, and it spawned numerous massive songs that were played a lot on TikTok and YouTube Shorts back in the day. So the success was definitely there, and the transition definitely did net him a lot more respect from the people that were looking for that type of music. And I don't know, man, I just respect MGK a lot nowadays. Like I said, I don't really like his music that much, but it is so apparent to me that he has been training with a vocal coach. His vocals are just getting a lot more crisp and a lot better, and just in general, the shit that he is doing now feels a lot more genuine and mature. And genuine is a very important term I want to put emphasis on, because I think throughout this whole pop-punk transition, there were people calling him corny, there were people calling him cringy. We kind of have to unpack this in numerous sections. So the first thing is, I don't think these people understand that the pop-punk sphere was very cringy and angsty. Looking back, I kind of come from an outside perspective because I was like a post-hardcore and a metalcore and an emo kid, so I was decently adjacent to the Green Days and the Blink-182s and the Paramores and all that sort of shit. I grew up with Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance and Panic at the Disco and Hawthorne Heights and Silverstein, so I very much understand that that era was cringy and angsty. That was the entire point. It was for disenfranchised youth, and everything from the music videos to the lyrical content to the visualizations to everything that was made gimmicky about the genre was very much corny and cringy. And just because MGK is revitalizing that and sort of reviving it into the new sphere doesn't suddenly make him more cringy or corny than the bands that he is so clearly taking very proper and respectful influence from. Number 2, like I said, I just think the dude's really fucking genuine. I think he cares about the genres he is pulling from. You can tell in how he treats his fan base, how he treats the music, the respect that he pays towards all of the covers that he has been doing more and more. He puts a lot of heart, soul, and passion into his stuff, and to me, it doesn't really seem like it is vapid. It doesn't seem like it is just a cash grab. And honest to God, it never really did seem like a cash grab to me. Even though I thought that MGK's music was admittedly pretty cringy, I never once got the impression from him that he was some put-on industry plant act for pop punk and that he was just trying to do a cash grab. And not to mention, and I feel like a lot of people forget this, and this is one of the most important things to mention here, pop punk has been dead for quite some time. You have some namesake bands that are still making pop punk music. Sometimes I'm looking at Green Day or Blink-182's Revival, but in the grand scheme of things, how many fantastic pop punk bands are around? It hasn't been a relevant genre to most people for quite some time, and has just sort of taken the backseat to so many other mainstream genres, and it's just played out for nostalgia's sake nowadays. And while yes, the late 2010s and the early 2020s has given way to a lot of revival artists like Youngblood and God forbid TX2. Pop punk in no way is some massively beneficial niche to try to go into, and hip hop is infinitely more successful than pop punk nowadays. So making the argument that he made the genre transition for money or something like that, I just don't get it. But there definitely were growing pains. I thought a lot of his songwriting and vocalizations needed some work. They were a little rough around the edges, but those are actually kind of staples of pop punk in the first place, especially the 2000s pop punk scene. And I think he has sort of worked out a lot of those kinks and has clearly put a lot of time into honing his skills, getting better songwriting, getting better vocalizations. And I'm looking at TX2 when I say this, for people that make their whole marketing shtick about the modern era and reviving this style, MGK has never really done that. The dude seems incredibly humble about what he does. He's just making music that is the scene he came from, and I think a lot of people also forget, look at his age. Do the fucking math on when he grew up. Do the math on when the music that he is making now was the biggest. This is clearly what the dude grew up with, and you also see other artists from that era liking the dude and appreciating the dude and respecting him, if not collaborating with him. So while there are some really weird things and stains on his career, not the least of which is the Eminem thing or the beef he got in with Corey Taylor, if you look a little bit deeper into that, both Corey Taylor and MGK have mutually said they could have handled it better and that they respect the hell out of each other. And Corey Taylor literally said that him and MGK are very alike in many ways because they're big-mouthed singers. So in general, I think the bottom line about MGK is he gets a lot of hate because he is popular to hate. He's like the modern equivalent of a Nickelback or a Creed. And just like those bands, you are starting to see people come around a little bit more as it becomes less popular to hate on MGK. You're seeing reviewers, you're seeing reaction channels slowly but surely come out of the woodwork and say that, wow, maybe this guy's a little talented, maybe we should give him a little bit of credit because he was in that Justin Bieber era of you just can't like him, you're cringy and corny if you like him, which obviously his numbers didn't reflect that, but it was the echo chamber of the internet that created this atmosphere to just hate on MGK constantly. And even considering the fact I didn't really like his last two albums and I'm not the biggest fan of his style, that's just because pop punk usually isn't my cup of tea and it wasn't the genre that I ever really adopted that much. I can still look from an outside perspective and say, this dude's pretty genuine about what he's doing and he's clearly putting a lot of heart, soul, and passion into reviving this style, and I feel like if you're gonna point your ire at someone in this niche, he is far from the person that should deserve it the most. And you can criticize him and say the things he's done is stupid, which they very much were. He's done a lot of dumb shit, he's ran his mouth a lot, he's made a lot of poor decisions, but in terms of the music and his image, current tense, I think he's on a really good path to making some good music and making sort of this comeback more and more into this genuine figure that I think is a pretty good role model, generally speaking, for this era of pop punk and emo younger listeners. There are far worse people that you could be idolizing. Not that I think idolizing is a good thing, parasocial relationships are bad, yada yada yada. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. What are your guys' thoughts of it? You can let me know down in the comment section below. I can't wait to hear it. Agree or disagree, there is no wrong answer. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.